out in poverty reduction?
A very big question. How can an undergraduate scholar ng bayan best help in poverty reduction?
Good. I'll answer.
Complete your schooling, move on to a higher degree if you can, and then be a productive member of society, and then invest in the human capital of your children once you form a family.
And I guess because he is a scholar, he's she ba yan? Or gusto ko sana she. Because he is a scholar, maybe he can actually go to science or math. We need people in those areas.
Thank you. Next is UP Cebu. Our moderator is Gretchen Chavez.
Yes, this is. Good afternoon. This is UP Visayas Cebu. We have a question from the chair of the Social Science Division, Professor Rodara Bukoy. Good afternoon. The question is directed to Dr. Balisacan. Is the win-win solution you mentioned possible given the class bifurcation and elite dominance in our society? The other related question focuses on your proposal for good governance. Does your proposal to design the social contract entails a radical socio-political change, which means transforming this elite-dominated system to one which is pro-poor and truly democratic? Thank you.
Okay, the question is, is the win-win solution you mentioned possible given class bifurcation and elite dominance in your society? And then she added with a statement, take the case of the agrarian reform programs. Big landowners and politicians have tried to derail this program that aims to address poverty.
I think I do believe that you have scopes for win-win solutions. In my presentation, I focus on the need to upgrade the quality of our institutions. I think we should start there. A good area, for example, or a good start would be our electoral process. Maybe let's clean our electoral system so that we can put in place leaders in government who could really push for the pro-poor development agenda. That's one. The second point, I think, where we can have a lot of rooms for pro-poor agenda would be in a choice of or decisions concerning the form of investments. I would think that there is less constraint, less resistance, even from the elite, from the political elite, to invest in basic education. There is a lot of resistance, and you would get a lot of resistance from investment in CARP, in agrarian reform program. But I think investment in education, in health, in basic health, I think there you could have a good window for getting that win-win solution. And as I said earlier, a healthy population is good for the non-poor.
Okay, thank you very much. We will entertain a question in the auditorium. Yes, sir, please. Microphone.
My name is Moises de la Cruz. I'm a retiree. I'm trying to look for work here. I accidentally went into investigating vegetable farming recently, and my study is that I found that regardless of it's vegetable farming, rice farming, or animal raising, the majority of the expenses is on the inputs. For example, on rice farming, I've come to the conclusion that the inputs, which are basically, the government tries to get us into the technology of hybrid farming, involves a lot of input fertilizers and pesticides. Now, my study, which is very, very short, and I'd like to maybe people to correct me if I'm wrong, is that 70% of the expenses is inputs. Now we are basically captive to the technology, whereas the resulting effect that I see is that less and less farming activities coming in from subsistence farmers because of their inability to meet goals, economic goals. Now, I'd like to ask the question, why don't we start focusing on the centuries-old method wherein we depend on the natural varieties of seed, because hybrid farming requires the seeds you cannot get future inputs for seed from the hybrids, and also the injection of fertilizers causes degradation in the land. So you start increasing the amount of inputs that you have to, if you insist on staying on that type of technology. My question is, why don't we start focusing on some other alternatives wherein more farmers could participate and maybe increase the actual yield that the country gets from our agricultural activity?